Okay, so you need several materials for this activity. So you are going to need your quotes notes. That should already be in your language arts binder. You're also going to need a highlighter and a pencil. So if you need to pause this recording while you go get those materials, that would be great. All right, if you have all of your things, you're ready to start our notes. So yesterday we learned about dialogue. Dialogue is the exact words that someone says out loud. And whenever someone is speaking out loud, we know their exact words. You're going to put one pair of lips, one set of quotes to show where they start talking, and then one set of lips at the end, okay? So we learned 3 simple steps for this yesterday. Step 1 was to put those lips around the words that were spoken. Okay, step 2, you try to think of it in your head while I'm doing this. Step 2, Mrs. Gregory, was to make sure we have 2 down on the ground. Step 3 was to make sure you've capitalized all the things that need to be capitalized. If you can remember those 3 steps, that's going to help you with today as well. Okay, so yesterday our 2 down on the ground, because we were talking about declaratives and imperatives that ended in periods, we were going to have a comma and a period, because you can't have 2 periods, and a comma is a substitute for a period, right? So that was our 2 down on the ground. Today, it's almost exactly the same, except now we're going to be working with interrogatives and exclamatories, so things are going to change just a little bit. All right, so let's get your highlighter. We know that an interrogative, think about when they interrogate suspects. What does it mean? They ask them a bunch of questions, right? So for our 2 down on the ground, that is going to change some things. You're not going to have a comma and a period anymore. You're going to have a question mark and a period, or a comma, which is like the period, and a question mark, okay? So it changes our 2 down on the ground. It'll either be comma, question mark, or question mark, period, depending on the order of the sentence, okay? So you can write that down. I'm actually going to change some things with these examples, and you can just change it on your paper too. But this is the dialogue. We have a dialogue tag, and we have the actual dialogue. So number 1, where should we play? Mary asked. Okay. Step 1, quotes around the words that were spoken. Well, what did Mary actually say out loud? Did she walk in and go, "Hey, Mary asked"? No, Mary is not going to walk in and say Mary asked. Mary walked into the room, picture her. What did she say out loud? She said, "Where should we play?" So we put quotes around, "Where should we play?" Hold on, I have children coming in. I gotta see what they need. Pause. Okay, sorry, the walkie-talkies needed batteries. Anyway, the words that were spoken were, "Where should we play?" That is our dialogue. Okay. Mary asked is our dialogue tag that tells us who said it. Step 2, 2 down on the ground. Well, we just said this is a question. She's not stating where should we play. She is asking where should we play. So we've either got to have a comma, then a question mark, or a question mark and then a period. The trick is the question mark needs to actually go with the question. I see people mix this up all the time. Which part of this is a question? She is asking, where should we play? So the question mark goes with, where should we play? That is the question. And then we put a period at the end because we're actually telling them what she asked. Okay? So you should have your lips talking, where should we play? Question mark, quotes, Mary asked, period. Also, always remember that the punctuation comes inside of the quotes, our PQ, right? Question mark comes before the quotes. All right, step 3, what do we need to capitalize? Well, of course, we need to capitalize the entire sentence. This is being capitalized for 2 reasons. First of all, it's the whole sentence, where should we play, Mary asked, and it is the spoken sentence. Now, we do need to capitalize Mary, but it's not because it's a sentence. It's only because Mary is her name. So you're going to capitalize Mary because it's her name. Now, this is where I wanted to add an example because I don't want you to be confused by this. So come down a little bit below. We're going to write in the exact same sentence, okay? Where should we play? Only this time we're going to say asked Mary, okay? Let's go through our same exact steps. Hold on. Okay, so Firestone just called and Mr. Gregory's car is ready. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was doing. Okay, oh, where should we play asked Mary? So same steps. Which words were said out loud? We already know. She said, where should we play? So that's where our quotes go. 2 down on the ground. Well, ask yourself which part is actually the question. The question is, where should we play? Make sure it's punctuation, then quotes. So question mark, then quotes. And then our second down on the ground is going to be a period because we are telling them what Mary asked. Okay, capitalization. We've already capitalized the beginning of both sentences here. So here's the big question that people get confused on. Do we capitalize this A in asked Mary? Up here we capitalized the M in Mary asked, but that was because her name is Mary and she has to capitalize her name. Down here, you need to ask yourself, is asked Mary a sentence? No, it is not, okay? So you do not capitalize this, all right? Be careful with that. We capitalize our M in Mary because it is her name, and we are done with that sentence. All right, let's take a look at our next example. Mary asked, where should we play? Step 1, words spoken. She asked, where should we play? We put the quotes around where should we play. Step 2, 2 down on the ground. Well, which part is actually the question? Are we saying Mary asked? Is that a question? Or where should we play? The question is, where should we play? That's where our question mark goes. That's 1 down on the ground. We need our second 1 down on the ground. It's going to be over here to separate our tag, our dialogue tag from the quote, okay? So Mary asked, comma, quotes, where should we play? Question mark quotes, okay? We have our 2 down on the ground. Question mark is with the question. Last part is, what do we capitalize? Well, Mary is a person's name, and it's the beginning of the statement. Now here we have quotes. Do we need to capitalize this W? Well, think about it. What is the sentence that she said out loud? She said, where should we play? That is a sentence, so we need to capitalize it. Okay, so that's where you're going to capitalize after a set of quotation marks, because this is an actual sentence. Where should we play? It makes sense on its own. All right, exclamatory. Same exact steps, except this time it's an exclamation. So instead of the question mark, we'll have the exclamation mark. So we're going to have either comma exclamation mark as our 2 down on the ground. Wow, this is, or exclamation mark and then a period. Those are our 2 choices. So number 1, that hurt, said Tom. Okay, now usually I think they could have used a little more specific verb here. I mean, you usually aren't going to just say that. Oh yeah, that hurt. You're going to say that hurt. Okay, they could have said yelled Tom, screamed Tom, squealed Tom, whatever. But we just know how that would be said. So we're going to put quotes around the word spoken. Step 1, what did he say out loud? When he walked into the room, he didn't say said Tom. He said that hurt. So that gets our quotes. Beginning lips, ending lips. 2 down on the ground. Well, which part was yelled? Is it that hurt, said Tom? Or is it that hurt, said Tom? The part that was yelled was that hurt. It gets your exclamation point. Second down on the ground is going to be your period at the end because they are telling you what he yelled. Okay. So make sure you reread this. That hurt, said Tom. That sounds right, Mrs. Gregory. If we did it this way. And read it the way it is. That hurt, said Tom. Does not sound right. Okay. So make sure your exclamation point is with the part that's yelled. Just like your question mark went with the part that was asked. So we got our 2 down on the ground. Now we need to figure out what to capitalize. All right. That hurt is the beginning of both sentences, the spoken sentence and the total sentence. So now we need to ask ourselves, do we capitalize the S in said Tom? Is said Tom a sentence? No, it is just finishing the thought. So we do not capitalize the S. We capitalize the T because it is his name. And that's it. All right, next one, last one. Tom said, that hurt. Step 1, words spoken. Tom walked in. What did he say? He said, that hurt. Beginning quotes, ending quotes around what was said. Step 2, 2 down on the ground. Well, which part was yelled? Is it, Tom said, that hurt? Or Tom said, that hurt? He yelled, that hurt. That gets your exclamation point. There's 1 down on the ground. And we need our comma to separate our dialogue tag from the actual dialogue. Also, remember, you need to be able to tell. It is punctuation, then the quotes. So comma, quotes, exclamation mark, quotes. Step 3, capitalize. T and Tom, it's a person's name and it's the beginning of the sentence. Now, do we capitalize the T in that hurt? Yes, because that is what he yelled out loud. That is his spoken sentence. So we do capitalize it. It makes sense on its own. All right, so you need a piece of paper and you need to write down and keep somewhere for later the following quote. 99% of failures. Write it down, keep it somewhere, keep it secret. Don't tell anybody. All right, and then for homework tonight, you are going to add quotes and go through your 3 steps for those sentences at the bottom of that page. That is your homework for tonight, and we will check it tomorrow. Good job.